I think all drug cartel use children labor. So if we will take it further and we will try to think how we protect the most vulnerable people, the ones that we made all this democracy for, children. And you need to start, it's like, you can't start with the radicalized college people. You need to start, where is these kids lost their critical thinking? Didn't I bring enough critical thinking into their school curriculum? Maybe banned the internet or TikTok or YouTube or certain stuff, and so kids won't be, even they can't reach it, and they won't be so radicalized. Or, like we said, kids not supposed to work and doing labor, and you can send your kids to work for you. You can't give your kid phone and internet and all of this stuff just like that. It's just like guns. It's need regulation. And when we stop this fire, we need both sides, like we're putting down fires with water. There is a sense behind us putting more fires. So it's not one solution, it's a lot of solution all together. And I think it can't come all from the government. It has to be the society itself, people, groups, communities, talking, not shutting down conversation, critical thinking, going back to the truth is not relevant these days. And when people don't have truth, they have nothing. All they have is dopamine. And the drug problem in America, I think it's the worst problem they have.
Final point.
That's it.
Thank you, Ila. Amin?
All right. So, with regards to free speech and the best ideas winning, I don't think it's about necessarily because your arguments were better and people with the wrong ideas listened and they were convinced by it. That's not the only reason why the best ideas win. And also, you don't necessarily need democracy for this process to work, right? So, even before democracy, we still had the battle of ideas. And this process continued, this is a process that has been going on for the past 10,000 years. The name democracy comes from the Greek, so it's pretty old, but civilization is much older than that, right? The best ideas win, not just because it convinces people, and it doesn't even need to convince that many people. The best ideas win because they work, right? And because shitty ideas, once people believe them, and once they implement those ideas, they self-destruct, because the systems, the methods, the institutions that come out of shitty ideas, at some point they're going to lose because they're shitty ideas, right? So it's not just a competition of right ideas versus bad ideas. It's the competition of the institution, the methods, the culture, the way of life that comes, the economy, the industries that come out of ideas, right? And they produce better societies. I mean, before they produce better civilizations, they produce better tribes, right? So you might have a shitty idea, like even before we had civilization, you might have a shitty idea and I have a better idea, and you might not get convinced by my better idea, but guess what, my tribe gets to live and your tribe goes extinct because of your shitty ideas, right? So the best ideas rise up in many different ways. So I think that this is why we need the highest amount of competition among the highest amount of ideas, because the Darwinian process that comes out of that does not rely on people actually getting convinced by the best ideas. This is why maximum amount of free speech actually produces results.
So I wanted to reply to Albi with what he said. And I had another point that is maybe more related to what you just said. Albi is kind of right in a way when he says we need to work on better speech, or else it will be a loss for everyone. And we will come up with this better speech. I tend to agree, but my people are in the receiving end in this context. So we are not very patient After Bondi Beach, we're not very patient. After what happens in Israel, we're not very patient. We need to get to a better form of speech. But I think that Jews feel that people need help to get to this better speech and they can't do it on their own. That's the main issue. About what Armin said and what we talked, if we should limit the speech or not limit the speech. Listen, the rule, the law in Israel is pretty clear. I mean, but it's something that we grow up into. The society is different, and I don't think that people will understand it. But for example, if something like Charlie Kirk murder would happen in Israel, and people will start publishing funny videos about it and all sorts of glorification to the murder and stuff like that, and dressing up in Halloween and all that, you're going to jail in Israel for that. You are going to jail. Maybe you will walk out after 3 months if you do some community service or whatever, but you are going to jail. You can't glorify killers and terrorists. It's not something that we do. Yes,
Rebuttal.
for sure.
Well, America is the greatest. I mean, I love Israel. Okay, but look at what America produced for having the values that it does. By the way, my dog is knocking, so I need to get the dog here.
Bring the puppy on stream.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Come.
I think Israel is better than the United States.
Puppies don't enjoy streams as much as humans.
Oh, too.
I had a dog that would watch shows about other animals and would really be curious about it.
Puppy adorable. That was so cute.
Oh, wait. Okay. So I just had a question. When you say we can't be patient anymore, like, what are you going to do? I don't like, if somebody glorifies the killers of Charlie Kirk, I don't think arresting them makes those ideas go away, right? It doesn't make them go away.
Let's just say, let's imagine that after October 8th in Sydney, Australia, they would arrest all these 40, 50 people who scream, "Guess the Jews." Will the shooter come? Will he appear? Would he not appear? I don't know. But I think it's a good effort.
No, I don't think that would stop it. Here's the thing. The problem is not that they're saying gas the Jews. The problem is that people who think we should gas the Jews are in Australia. And if people who think we should gas the Jews are in Australia, I want them to say gas the Jews so I know they're in Australia.
But if they're Australian citizens already, what do you do then?
Not saying gas the Jews is not going to eliminate them. Now we don't even know that this threat exists. I need them to show themselves. I need them to be free to say the garbage ideas that they have.
Okay, but can I have a go at this?
After Nail Bunny, okay?
Yes.
Nail Bunny, please.
I think that so everybody wants everybody to actually, listen to what they have to say. We want to get through to them. So I'm in total agreement with Ian because I do think that there are certain things that are actually really universal. Laughter is universal. Smiling, his little kid running around, that put everybody, I'm sure everybody smiled at that. Armin putting his dog up on the screen.
Yeah.
The dogs, it makes everybody stop. These things are
Love of dogs
universal.
is not universal.
What?
Love of dogs is not universal.
Well, no, but you know what I mean.
Not
Like
at all.
there's some things like, your pets or
Babies.
or yeah, exactly. But laughter, smiling, everybody wants to smile. That is actually universal, I think. And so, if you want somebody to listen, you want to get through to them. Interesting and funny. Those are the things that get through to people. Hopefully both. And I have a few examples, and it's actually one of them that, when we previously were talking about communism, my favorite book for everyone to either listen to, and I actually recommend listening to it instead of reading it, is An Immigrant's Love Letter to the West by Konstantin Kisin. So you listen to it and it's funny because he is funny. He was a stand-up comedian. And it's a fantastic book. You learn a lot. It's really entertaining. And, you come out the other end going, yeah, no way, communism is horrendous. Another great example, at least for me, is Andrew Doyle. I don't know if anybody knows who Andrew Doyle is. Ian probably does because he's in Scotland. But so Andrew Doyle, he's a satirist, and he basically wrote a book as a fake person called Tanya McGrath, and it was called Woke. And so he's basic, and it's just he had an X account, or at that point it was Twitter, and people actually thought that Titania was a real person who was just extremely woke, and people would be arguing with him and calling him, and it was hilarious because he nailed it. He just absolutely blew it open of how ridiculous these opinions were. And another thing, like to Andrew Doyle a few years ago, Andrew Doyle and Douglas Murray, they went on a tour of Britain, and it was the Resisting Wokeism tour. And it was just the two of them talking, and they went all over, and it was fantastic. It was hilarious because both of those guys are really
Bunny.
And so, I think that that's the best way to get through. And another example, I think that Tal Oren is really funny. He basically just tells people you're being retarded. And they're like, and they have this look on our face like, no one's ever told me that. And it's just like, no, you kind of need to be told that. You actually do. Someone in your life needs to tell you you're being a dick, or you're being an idiot, or whatever. And nothing you said just now made any sense. Instead of dancing around it and being all nice and polite. No, if somebody said something stupid, just say, that was really stupid. And I'm not going to respect it. I'm going to make fun of it. I'm going to make fun of you for believing it. To me, that is the best way. I do it all the time in the chat. I just make fun of people at this point.
Did you watch my show with Tal Oren?
Yeah,
What was
I
that?
think so.
Did you watch my show with Tal Oren? My show with Tal
Yeah.
Oren? Oh, was it? Did you like it?
Yeah, it was a while back. It was like 2 months ago, 3 months ago.
Yeah,
I don't think it was that long ago.
Yeah, something like that. It all gets blurry, but I did watch it. I don't know if I watched all of it. I can't remember anymore.
He's got
It
a
was
bit of
my
a narcissistic style for me, but I like. But he can be funny. I like him.
Yeah, he's good.
It,
He's good.
it was the most enjoyable conversation I ever had with anybody on the show. It was my favorite moment.
He's a nice guy. He's definitely a nice guy.
Yeah.
I just want to say about, I get the point that Armin made about it's okay to say gas the Jews, but 2 weeks later we got the Bondi shooting. So when you make it popular, when you make it normalized, so you make all the rats come from their hiding, it's good and not good because they're not only shouting. So I don't know how you can hold this.
Yeah, I did not say it's okay.
If I will make hate speech on the street, I will get arrested immediately, and I don't think it should take a lot of time. I don't see the point of letting extreme hate. You can say radical stuff. I can say extreme stuff to whatever. I can say provocative stuff on the street if I want to. But what's the point? It's why I understand when you make something not legal, the illegal parts go even darker and darker, but still, with terror in these times, in these days, it's playing with fire. That's what I want to say.
Yeah, obviously different opinions about it. I don't think that anybody here has a top answer. Lots of opinions about it. Kurt?
I'm a free speech absolutist, but I think it was only a couple of days after the October 7 attacks that they were doing the Gas the Jew thing in Sydney. I posted, I'm looking for it the next day. Like, that's not free speech, that's incitement to violence. But there's going to be a lot of changes to Australia's free speech laws, lots of hate speech stuff and anti-Semitic stuff. And anyway, hopefully we vote him out in the next election and get someone decent in. But yeah, things will change here. It was a wake-up call because Australia is a very naive country in that sense. Like, no idea about any political things until it comes to their doorstep, you know? That's about all.
Albi.
Do you wanted to respond to anything of that?
The causation relationship is them being there, not them saying gas the Jews. Okay? So removing the gas the Jew part is not going to remove the causal link between the factor that actually caused the event. Okay, the people who did that, if they're there, not being able to say gas the Jews is not going to be like, oh, I could only go kill Jews if I also get to say gas the Jews. Okay, so I again saying, so you have to demonstrate to me that them saying gas the Jews is actually a contributing factor. I don't think it is. I think saying gas the Jews is a contributing factor to us. I mean, just because the Australian government is retarded and when they saw those alarming chants, they didn't do anything about it, doesn't mean that that's not useful. That's actually useful for us to be able to, if we had a sane government, it's good to see people saying that so that we could do actually something about it. That one, okay? So if anybody says that we should stop them from saying gas to Jews, they have to demonstrate how this contributes to less Jews being harmed. I actually think censoring them contributes to more Jews being harmed, in my opinion.
I think these people that were screaming gas the Jews are Australians. The people that kill are the people you say they should not be there. But they got the power because the everyday Australian or UK or whatever said it enough times on the street gladly, and they were like, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. They're
That's
loving
wrong.
it. And
Okay, so
also,
you
I
don't know.
think there is a lot of terror inside the USA. There is a lot of terror in the USA right now by white Americans, 24-year-old kids. And I call them kids because their brain didn't develop, because something stopped it from developing and someone else stole it. And I think these people are super dangerous. They're psychopaths and they will kill their own societies. And it doesn't matter if it's not their original
Let's stay on topic.
country.
All right. First of all, you misrepresented me because you said that I said saying gas to Jews is okay, or that it's good that, you know. So obviously, I disagree with these people, right? Obviously, this is a shit
It's
ideology
an
that
Israeli
needs to be
figure of
destroyed.
speech.
Yeah, okay. And you telling me that these people are super dangerous, like, what is that? How does that negate anything I'm saying? That's why I want them to be free to say what they're saying, because they need to identify themselves as being dangerous. And if you think these people decided that we should go kill the Jews because they heard chants of other people saying gas the Jews, then you don't understand how deep rooted this ideology is and where these people are getting radicalized. These people have not become radicalized by hearing a couple of people in the streets saying gas the Jews. These people are getting radicalized over years and years online through many different communities and online Islamic groups. That one time hearing some people said gas the Jews in the streets is not going to make that much of a difference. Okay, what the difference that it's going to make for us is to demonstrate to the whole world, like, look what the fuck we're dealing with. We need to do something. Again, this disease grows much faster in darkness. We need to see who these people are, so we need to
10
be able
seconds.
to let them say, yeah, okay, America become the greatest nation state in the whole world because of certain values. America is not collapsing. Okay, so even America is not going to collapse, one. And even if it is collapsing, that actually proves my point, because the values that make America great
Are collapsing.
is part of, if you're saying the values are collapsing and therefore America is collapsing, then part of the values that was responsible for making America great is free speech. So you're arguing that we should maintain those values and not change them to maintain America as a great country. So that's actually a point for my side if you're saying America is collapsing. So we shouldn't go against the values that got America to the point that it is now.
You're making this magical connection between American success to absolute free speech when terror or
I
when
never
terror
said
attacks are
absolute.
occurring.
You're
I don't.
misrepresenting. You're misrepresenting my point. I'm a free speech maximalist. I made that very clear. Okay, America has limitations on free speech. For example, America limits a direct
I
call to
agree with
violence.
you that free speech
Yeah,
is amazing and it's a must in every Western country. But to allow people to say absolutely anything whenever, I don't know
I
if
didn't
it's
use.
too wise.
You're
I don't know
saying
if it works for
absolute.
you.
You're saying absolute. I didn't say absolute.
To me, if you allow people to say "guess the Jews," that is absolute.
No, absolute is when you allow. No, if you say gas the Jews is allowed, but saying go kill Armin or go kill Asi, that's illegal. Then that is not absolute. That is
That's
maximum.
just one on one and not group thing. That's all it is.
Yeah. So it's not absolute. It's maximum, but it's not absolute.
Okay. I will wait for my turn and I'll push on this because we have a bit of a list. Oh, I lost everything.
Can I say something?
Marco.
You forgot me earlier, so.
I did, Mossad.
So, this correlation causation, Armin, we know the pattern. The Jews have been through this a few times and we documented it. So we know the pattern. First, they debate about us. Then they start saying how much they hate us. Then you start getting random attacks. And then the number of random attacks intensifies. And then it gets really crazy. We know the movie. We don't care if it's correlation or causation. We want to be careful because you get it. Now, free speech, again, assumes a certain population with certain assumptions. It assumes that the people accept they are also responsible. So they know, or most of them know, there are some things that are better to say. Yes, I can say them. We're free in America to say whatever we want, but certain things I will not say because they are tricky and can cause and can be used in ways that I don't want them to be used. Now, freedom of speech, I used to believe it. It's not working for me. It's not working. When there's billions of people who hate me and they all want to talk, and I have to wait my turn to say, hey guys, all the stuff you said about me, which will take now 10 years to defend, is false. No, no. Free speech is not working for me. Sorry. What works to defeat anything in the world, almost always, not always, but almost always, is what I said before, friction. If you
No, but
introduce
Mossad,
friction,
but Mossad, be accurate because it sounds like you're saying that oppression is the cure. So be very accurate.
I can only say what I feel about it. It's not working right now. It's simply not working. I don't think that if you make it difficult for them, they are going to be even bigger in the darkness in this basement. No, I think if you make it difficult for something to happen, it's difficult for it to happen. And that doesn't mean you're always successful, but you have to try. We do it with drugs, we do it with crime, we do it all the time. Now, about the comedy, I think comedy is very powerful. I think one of its powers is to expose hypocrisy. And that's why I'm starting a campaign for Armin to play the catboy loop in a small square every time he talks about Nick, because it's funny and it exposes his hypocrisy. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, so first of all, I think you guys thinking I'm being soft on these people, okay? By saying that they should be able to speak. I want to fucking annihilate these people, and I need to be able to see my enemy if I want to destroy them. This is not about being kind. This is about being able to identify your enemy, right? And also, when you say we Jews have seen the pattern, trust me, I've seen the pattern. I was born in the middle of it, so I know the pattern as well. I don't deny the pattern. I agree with the pattern that you're saying, but this is like saying, like, imagine if you're talking about a sickness. First this happens, then you experience certain pain, and then this happens, and then you die. Okay, thinking like, okay, so in the middle part there's a pain area, so maybe if I take some painkillers, then we wouldn't. Let's say phase 2 is that you experience some pains, then you have phase 3, and phase 4 you die. Okay, phase 2, because you experience some pain, if you take some painkillers you might not experience the pain, but that doesn't mean you're not going to go to phase 3 just because you notice that pattern. So getting rid of something that was in the middle of the pattern doesn't mean that the steps are not going to continue. even if the pattern recognition was correct, right? If you're like, I have three more points. If you say it's not working for me, that's not data. If you say there's a billion people who hate me, and yes, shutting them up is not going to make them go away. In fact, it's going to make it harder to see that there's this billions of people who want to kill you.
I can see them,
If you
no
say,
problem. I mean, I can
Let
see
him
them.
finish. He's very short in time.
if you make it difficult for them to happen, it will happen less often. You have to actually demonstrate, because these are two different actions. Saying these things and doing certain actions, if you make one of them difficult, you have to demonstrate that it's going to make the other one difficult, because you're not talking about the same action. Done.
Nice.
Can I answer? I need 10 seconds. Okay, fair enough.
Okay. Okay. So on the list we have Marco. Marco.
Good morning to you all.
Morning,
Yeah,
sir.
free speech. Thank you. Yeah, free speech. We haven't got it. Sorry. There's no such thing as free speech. Because, for one thing, the government ignores it. Free speech. Free speech is good to say what you need to say, because we can say, all right, this man here thinks this is wrong. We can say, all right, but why is it wrong? We can actually talk to this man or the group and try to find out why he thinks this is wrong. Try to understand. Some people, you will never understand why they think it's wrong, because they've only got one mind. But free speech is the best speech, because no one listens to you if you don't talk. If we don't talk out there and say to one another, well, I'm not happy with that, that's not right, then everybody can say, oh, well, that's great. Let's talk about it. Let's understand why you don't think it's right. And we can try to agree with one another. But then again, governments won't agree with you because you're getting in their way. Religion won't agree with you because they know better. But the average person would know a hell of a lot more than any of those people, because he lives on the street. He fights every day of the week just to get food on his table. So I would agree free speech is the best way for us to go, because we can try to understand why people get annoyed. But there's not enough people out there that will let us speak like this. They just think we're being nasty, or they just won't let you do it. So really, free speech is a go. But first, we've got to get governments to understand us speaking the way we do. But there's a lot of people out there to speak a lot of truth, and they just get ignored. They get pushed to the side. They're troublemakers. Well,
Because
that's never going to work, because there's a lot of people against it. You can't have free speech when someone says, hey, wait a minute, we don't agree with that. We don't want to talk about that. Free speech is free speech, but there's no such thing. How many people speak straightforward and then they get knocked back, and they get told that they don't know what they're talking about? It's hard. Free speech is very hard. You've got to get everybody on board free speech, because we all got a point to make. All of us got a point to make. And if you don't let people make their point, well, it just doesn't work. Do you agree, or you must all have something to say?
I think that if I understood it was a rather philosophical point. Yeah, I tend to agree, but it was pretty philosophical, I would say. And
Well,
we have. I'm sorry, we need to move on. We have Albi.
Yeah, so I love the United States, but I would say that for me, Israel is the greatest country in the world now. So that's my opinion. And then the second thing, maybe I was not precise earlier because I was defending free speech, but actually I was thinking only about ideas and stories, like not actions. Because, the language, I don't know the word, sorry, in English, but Austin, do you know Austin? He wrote a book like how to do things with words, like examples of when you do things by saying things. And so, like, gas the Jews, not legal in Italy, not legal. You cannot say that, of course. But globalize the Intifada, you can say that because people don't know what it means actually. So, but if our lawmakers knew what it means, it would be illegal. I'm against absolute free speech when it comes to doing things with words like incitement to violence. You can say homosexuals are sick, okay, it's your opinion, but you cannot say like kill the homosexuals. Like, that's not legal. This shouldn't be legal for me. That's it.
Yeah. Thank you, Albie. Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I mean, less, and yeah, it's a complicated topic.
Yeah.
And we have Kurt. Yes.
Thanks. I just wanted to say, while I am a free speech absolutist, we will be limiting anti Semitic speech in Australia, which could be good because the Quran is basically nothing but anti Semitic speech. So it's going to be a really good way to, I don't know, benefit my personal goals of reducing Islam and showing people what the actual truth is, because people don't really know what's in the Quran. That's all.
Amen. You wanted
A
to say
short
something?
rebuttal: if you ban Islam, you will be increasing Islam. If you ban Islam, you're going to be increasing Islam.
And now we have Karen.
Well, I think that one should have free speech, but as with anything, there has to be limitations. The limitation would be the incitement to violence and the deliberate telling of non-truths, knowingly telling non-truths. The gas the Jews thing is dangerous because it lays the groundwork for more such mob mentality and talk. And it may not have led to the Islamist shootings at Bondi Beach, but it sure leads to harassment, beating people up, that kind of behavior. That's not acceptable. Yeah, so this kind of speech, gas the Jews, I don't want to hear it because I know where it will lead. It seems that the anti-Semitism that is in people's hearts, there is a lot more of it than you would know, than you would have known maybe 10 years ago, where it's all kept at bay. Nobody's saying those things. Like, I'm just stunned by the number of people that get onto the bandwagon, by the number of people who are anti-Israel. Yeah, that's all I have to say, really.
Okay. Why not?
So, what, in my opinion, Karen, what leads to the harassment of Jews is the presence of people who would want to say those chants, whether they say it or not. The people who would want to say those chants, their existence, that's what leads to the harassment of Jews. Me stopping them from making those chants is not going to reduce the harassment of Jews. Me stopping them from saying those chants maybe make us less aware that these people exist, but it's not going to stop them from harassing Jews. Them living, them being there, them existing there, that's the problem. The chant is the symptom, it's not the actual reason.
But they're
Go on, you want to say
Australians.
something?
They're Australians.
Yep.
What are you gonna do?
That doesn't negate
What
my
do you mean?
My point is, whether they're Australian or not, the fact that they exist causes harassment of Jews, not the fact that they're saying the chants.
But they
No,
didn't
people,
cause
they
harassment
amplify
of
each other.
Jews.
They amplify each other. They're spreading the idea. What do you mean?
Wait,
they're
If you were
amplifying
right,
their view.
advertising would not work.
No,
let's
no, they're amplifying their views, not but okay, they're amplifying their views in so many other ways. Again, you say you notice patterns, I notice patterns. These people have been there and they've been amplifying their views for years and years and years. They didn't just amplify each other just by one chant in the street after October 7th. That's
No,
not
I
when
know.
that's not when the amplification happened. The amplification was happening for years.
all
That was
right.
Yeah, I
just the
know.
result of
All
it.
right, all right, all right. Let's move on. I
Scary
raised my
models.
hand to argue about this. We will have the time. Let's move with the list. And now we have Khalid.
I have a question for the Bombay Beach fighters. Weren't they Indian? They're originally from India. They weren't Australians, or were they Australians who got Indian citizenship?
They
Because
were
I read that.
Pakistanis.
Okay, because the difference is that Jews are a minority. They need some protection. That's it.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Khalid. It says Armin. Armin, but do you have something to add?
Oh, and
Raise
just to
hand.
say, like knowingly telling non-truth is not limited by free speech laws. Having the intention to say something that is untrue and saying it, and if you could prove damages because of it, then that is covered under civil law, not under criminal law. So under criminal law, we have fraud, right? That is not protected by free speech. Then we have a direct incitement of violence. That is a limitation in the United States. You cannot do that. Those are criminal law. But then we have civil law. And then if you on purpose, so if you say something that you think is true, that does so libel laws, you have to for you to be able to get damages from somebody, first you have to show that they didn't actually believe it, which is a really hard thing to prove, that they knowingly lied. And you also have to prove that this caused you damages, that there's a monetary value for it. And if you do that, then that person hasn't committed a crime, but they have caused you damages that you could sue them for. So these are two different areas. That's how it works in America.
I wanted to say about Oscar, I also believe in free speech, but I cannot go to someone in a liberal country holding a sign saying "Get the Jews" and tell them, "I'm Jewish, let's debate." It's obviously not gonna, you don't want to talk to me.
Good
And
evening, nice Pakistani man.
Hmm?
Yeah.
Once it's get to this kind of level of violent speech, it's not debatable. And also, I wanted to say to Armen, you said, I want these people in the light, in the sun, where I can see them. Okay, you can see them for 2 years. What are we doing? They're out. They're all out. Nobody's doing anything with it. We just let them getting bigger and bigger. So if that's the point, we are missing the point, you know? And also, I wanted to say about something that happened here in Israel. In one demonstration of women, there was one girl, 16-year-old girl, holding a sign saying, "Gas the boys." She went to investigation about, did you really believe what you write? Why did you write it on a sign? And do you really hate men? Do you really want to kill all men? Do you believe what you said? It was in the newspaper. So yeah, obviously the police said, yeah, she's a girl, she's 16, she had a hard life, and it was just a provocative sign. She didn't really meant to kill anyone or made it like a movement, of people. So, but it still need investigation.
Right. Anything else?
Yeah, I just want to say something. I didn't argue that. My point is not that we should go be like, oh, don't let them say what they want to say and let's go debate them. Hey, maybe not gas the Jews is the right solution. Like, that's not my point. That people who are saying gas the Jews, we should go debate them to not gas the Jews. Okay. And when you say nobody's doing anything about it, yeah, I know. We already demonstrated that there's a problem. The fact that the Australian government didn't do anything about it, that doesn't negate my point. It just shows how fucking, useless the Australian government is. Not that my point is invalid. So that is a complaint to the Australian government, not to like my point. The fact is that you have demonstrated that this problem exists. A proper state then would do something about it, right? And
But it's
also,
not only Australia, it's all the countries.
It's a
that
global
doesn't negate my
phenomenon.
point either. Like all that doesn't how does that negate my point? Just because they saw the warnings that didn't do anything about it, should we take away the warning because they didn't act on the warning? Yeah, go complain to them that didn't act on the warning, not on the person that is arguing that we should allow the warning to be there, right? And also, I still haven't seen, like, you guys are asking like, oh, Armin, your solution doesn't work, but you haven't demonstrated how your solution works. Nick Fuentes, no, you didn't. He's now the biggest content creator in America. Like, that obviously doesn't work. Like, every time, here's the thing, based on what I've seen, every time we have tried to censor somebody and take their speech away, they came back 10 times bigger exactly because people were trying to silence them. So this doesn't work. Have you ever seen this working anywhere? Like, I haven't. I haven't seen people, I haven't seen like, hey, people who believe that we should gas the Jews not doing it, like becoming less violent and less radical because you took their right from saying that away from them. I haven't seen that working. Like, I don't understand what
I
you're
have
talking
seen it working.
Tell me how.
Okay, so let me tell you how. It's my turn, and I have some stuff.
Okay.
And Mossad, if you would like to add some stuff, I'll let you. I'll try to make it very briefly within the 2.5 minutes. So we already had a discussion here in the discussion group that described the radical Islamists, and basically we agreed here upon the argument that it doesn't matter how much radical Islamists you have, because, and it doesn't matter to make a head count because they can ignite in a second, and the thing that helps them a lot is the sensation of wind in the back they get from the ummah. If you throw in jail or give a hefty fine to those who demonstrated and screamed, "Guess the Jews," you are bothering this wind in the sails of the Ummah that fuels the fighters. We see it in Israel. In 2019, we had lots of the Arab Israeli came together and decided to do riots, some shooting, some throwing rocks, stuff like that. And they have a symbol of an M16 on their shirts, and they were very violent. And we learned from that when you encourage terrorism, you go to jail. And from 2019, we did not have this again, even though we went over to take care of business in Gaza. Some people from Ramle have families in Gaza. Ramle is a city next to Lod here in Israel. We did not have this after in 2023 because we showed them that we are not patient for this kind of bullshit. So it does work. That's my point.
Nothing is a bigger wind in their sail than getting arrested for saying, like, if you want to turn people into heroes, then just arrest them for the wrong speech. They're followed, but the people watching it don't. You actually, that's a bigger wind in the sail of the people watching them get arrested for. Because here's the thing, you're actually going to make that speech more interesting. Maybe the people you're arresting, they're going to, they're going to cry at night. But the people who think like, okay, these are our heroes, look at the frustration. But a lot of people are like, okay, we should do something more radical about it, given that they're not letting us talk about it, right? But also, I'm actually don't necessarily disagree with you, because you're talking about people encouraging terrorism, arresting them for that. That is basically a limitation that I accept, because that is a direct incitement to violence, right?
But it wouldn't pass as encouraging terrorism in Europe